What's up, guys? It's Jonathan, and welcome back to Regenerate Your Mind and Body. It's a new year and a new opportunity to get healthy. It's been day 4 for me, and I am back on my preferred holistic diet. And I'm going through the adaptation phase right now, so I am feeling a little bit tired, lethargic, and going through those symptoms. So you don't have to fast. You don't have to restrict your diet to just fruit to go through detox, regardless of um, what your goals are when it comes to detoxification. If it's to lose weight, if it's just to attain that discipline, that's going to help improve your fitness. It's going to help improve your energy. Um, Once you just stop eating certain foods that are problematic to your body, that cause irritation to your tissues and irritation to your endocrine system, because if you're eating food, for one, that is not organic, it's going to be neurotoxic to your tissue. These chemicals are going to alter your thinking. They're going to alter your circadian rhythm and how you sleep. They're going to cause inflammation. And when that inflammation starts to build up in the body and it doesn't come out, now you're entering into stages of degeneration. So the beautiful thing about all of this is, like, food could degenerate your body, if you want to call it food, altered, processed, manufactured foods that have come into the marketplace over the last 100 years. I would say even maybe 50 years, as it's completely declined, to where even though the food might be edible, it's definitely not conducive for optimizing your health. But when you start eating all organic and you start cooking your own food or preparing it raw, however you prefer, your body's going to go through two different phases. It's going to go through the cleansing phase of detoxification, and it's going to go through the adaptation phase. Now, the adaptation phase is your gut microbiome shifting. So you got to flush out that bacteria that's feeding off of basically undigested waste matter in your GI tract, which creates a lot of uric acid loads and just, a whole different hosts of metabolic waste accumulation that builds up in your lymphatic system, which stores this metabolic waste, this acid, into your tissues. And also how your body, goes through those stages of digestion, absorption, utilization, and how you eliminate the byproducts of what isn't useful to build, nourish, and replenish your tissue, your cells. So, in this video, I just want to talk about, why am I choosing to make this video? Why am I trying to encourage people to eat healthy? For one, it's because I understand how it works, and I want to help people optimize their health. I want to help people optimize their goals through nutrition and through regenerative healing protocols. And also, it's a good motivational tool for me to stay consistent with what I know so that I can optimize my own personal health. And when we go into the new year, there's this whole idea that you take a step back and self-reflect, and you examine what you've done throughout the year and what isn't beneficial for you, what isn't suiting you, what do you need to get rid of, and how do you optimize your goals, and be more in alignment with your virtues, or whatever it is. And so health has always been something that I've been passionate and interested in, because I've realized, being somebody on the opposite end of the spectrum that had their health decline through stress, through irresponsible eating. And for those of you that have known me throughout the years, know that I come from a background of substance abuse as well, that led me to the research of how to heal myself. Um, so for me personally, I've seemed to be yo-yoing with eating healthy, and that's the thing. It's like you examine how your year went, and obviously 2025 was definitely a year of a lot of testing, a lot of shedding. You know, in astrology, in Chinese astrology, it was the year of the snake, and as we know, the snake likes to shed. It's a transformational period of getting rid of your karma, because a 9 year is the last number from 1 through 9. It's the year of completion of shedding what isn't useful for you, and working through those karmic debts that we rack up, whether it's losing our health, whether it's losing relationships, whether it's losing jobs, whether it's just anything that is about shedding, things that aren't going to benefit our spiritual, emotional, and physical lives. And not optimizing your health with proper nutrition is going to keep you in that state of karma anyway. So now we're in the year of the horse, 2026, and that is the year of making it's movement. It's number one. So 2026 adds up to a one, which kind of restarts the calendar in numerology. And so one is about fast movement. It's about motivation. It's about ambition. And so this is the perfect year to get back on track, because the energy of this year is all about movement. And so obviously, if you want to optimize your health, you have to make choices. Action, right? Action is movement. The horse wants to move. And it's the year of strength. This is the greatest year of reflection from 2025, because that was the year of karmic debt. That was a year of shedding what wasn't useful. It was a hard year. I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you do participate in the comments, will say that 2025 was a hard year for you, unless you were born in the year of the snake. It might have been a good year for you, but other than that, it was really challenging for most people, and it was an extremely challenging year for me. And so there was a lot of stress, a lot of choices, a lot of karmic debt that I've worked through in 2025. And so, when I'm on the phone and I'm working with my clients and I'm trying to help them understand the cause and effect of why your health declines, and it's not always just what you eat. A lot of it has to do with your mind and how you utilize your energy, with being outside of your purpose and not making wise choices with who you share your intimacy with, and so on. And so stress is probably the biggest reason why we turn to certain foods that are available, that are basically drugs. They're highly addictive. We eat for pleasure. We eat to regulate our nervous systems. And when you eat healthy, it doesn't really do that. What it does is it takes your body through the detoxification process, and it also can regenerate certain neurons in your brain, and help to acclimate your neurotransmitting system, which controls, those feeling good receptors, those neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine and oxytocin and acetylcholine, and so it's a longer process. So it's like when you eat healthy, now you're going through that state of elimination and depletion, and so your body, those neurons in your brain, aren't being fed, and the parasites in your gut aren't being fed some of those poisonous foods that alter your mood state, that sedate you, that excite you. It's out of balance. It's always a hypo and hyper kind of state that you put yourself in. And when you go to regulate that by eating healthy, it's going to bring stabilization, but also it's like what comes in must come out. So it's like what comes in could really start to block that flow of energy, which is what creates that state of disease, dysfunction, disharmony. And so when your body's purging it out, you're going to feel some of that as well. You don't have to go on a rigorous fast, um, to go through emotional detox, to go through cravings and that sort of thing. You just have to eliminate. And so in this video, I want to help you understand, kind of how I eat, and maybe if you're in alignment to it, you could test it for yourself to see, give it a few weeks to then see, how your sleep improves, how your body recovers, how your inflammation goes down, how your energy comes back. But you have to go through the adaptation phase. And even right now, it's very difficult for me to do this video because I'm going through that detox. It's not a strict, rigorous kind of detox because I'm not really trying to heal anything serious to where I'm desperate to where I would have to turn up that volume and really go to that extreme with juice fasting or water fasting or elimination types of diets, whether that's all fruit or whether that's just meat and salt and butter. You can go the extreme carnivore route, or you can go the fruit route, and then you could, utilize fasting in between as you go through that phase, and utilize those protocols for healing chronic and degenerative conditions. I'm not doing that. So I'm just trying to, as I get older, trying to really optimize my health in a way to where I age properly, and also that I could improve my energy, keep my hormones in balance, and also be able to emotionally regulate myself. Because when you're on a nutritional diet, it does really help with your mental health as well. Because life is stressful. There's no way around that, and so um, you only have full control with how you make choices for yourself. The lust for controlling things outside of yourself is always going to create a state of suffering because that is an unhealthy attachment style. Anything that forces you to try to control. So, regardless of what anybody's doing that's within your social circle this year, you're going to have to block that out. And you're going to have to really hone in on your choice and what you can control. And so you can control what you eat, and you can control how you treat your body with physical movement, because the body is not designed to be sedentary. And so when you're eating healthy, it's going to help give you that energy. After you go through that detox phase, it's okay to kind of chill out and relax when your body goes through that state of adaptation. When you're feeling a little bit fatigued and your digestion slows down, or you feel some aches and pains in certain places of your body, that's all normal when you start eating healthy. And so people will be like, I'm eating healthy, but I feel like shit. Um, it's because your body's going through adaptation and detoxification. Um, so the kind of diet that I adopt is I adopt an animal-based diet. So I get the bulk of my calories and my nutrition for animal-based sources. Basically, what that is eggs, butter, um, and beef. Sometimes chicken if it's a good source of chicken, but mainly just beef. And and I will eat like bacon as well. I don't fear cholesterol. I don't fear saturated fat. That's all another topic for another day. But and pork can be a problem if it's not a properly sourced pork, because pigs are omnivorous just like chickens, and so they can hold on to linoleic acid, which is what's converted from polyunsaturated fatty acids, specifically more in these hybridized GMO, um, chemical ridden foods like corn, soy, and legumes and stuff like that they're feeding the pigs. But if you're getting bacon, uncured, organic bacon that where the farmers, they take care of their pigs and they eat them healthy, then they're not really going to build up linoleic acid in their fat to where it would become a problem. And really, the cholesterol basically buffers it out anyway. So, really, linoleic acid from polyunsaturated fats, which come from plants, eating the plants itself is what's really that cholesterol and that lipid from the fat isn't going to neutralize those acids to where it becomes harmful to your bodies. And fats lubricate the lymphatic system as well and help as long as they're healthy fats and the fats are metabolized. So I'll eat, a good source of bacon, eggs, butter, and beef, and that's primary. And for my carbohydrates, I'll do honey and white rice. And I keep my carbs right now. I've been keeping them like at about 75 to 100 grams of carbohydrates a day, and the rest coming from fat and protein. So my body is trying to adapt to more fat than it is from a high carb diet, because when I veer off from my diet, basically if you're eating foods that are like packaged or whatever, just not healthy because you're trying to cope with stress and you're emotionally eating or whatever it might be. I mean, I don't need to get too specific about that, but it's going to generally be a more high carbohydrate diet with a lot of seed oils, and the starch and seed oils are the main contributor to a lot of the health conditions that people are suffering with in this country, or just in the Western world in general, or just in the world in general. So when you eliminate seed oils and you eliminate refined carbohydrates and refined sugars, you're going to detox just from doing that. So honey, I feel like that's my more simple sugar source for fuel, preferably right now. And the reason why I'm trying to do low fiber as well is because I'm trying to give my digestion a rest, so that any inflammation that I built up in my gut will come out quicker. Because fiber takes a lot of digestion, and it's a burden on your pancreas. So even though the pancreas does have to produce insulin for complex carbohydrates in the form of white rice, or even with a little bit of the glucose that comes from the honey. Honey's more of a fructose source. It's basically like a fruit, but there's no fiber. So and white rice is very low in fiber. Now, why would I eat white rice? Because brown rice is full of phytic acid from the whole grain, from the grain itself. So when you remove that husk from the white rice, now it's just now it's just a complex carbohydrate, glucose and polysaccharides. So it's a cleaner source of sugar. So I don't eat the white rice for health. I don't eat it for nutrition. I just eat it for a fuel source, because I'm not trying to go into ketosis. My goal is to not adapt to fat, because with how my metabolism works, I prefer carbohydrates and fat for my fuel, kind of in the middle. I don't like to go too high with the carbs and too low with the fat, or too high with the fat and too low with the carbs, because then your body's going to have to go through that adaptation phase. And if you have a faster metabolism, your body's going to work a little bit better with more sugar sources of fuel from healthy carbohydrates. And so fruit, honey, and I would say white rice as a backup. Now, I would eat fruit, but I'm trying to avoid the fiber right now, because when you avoid fiber, it really is easier for your it's easier on your digestive system, and it also helps to with the inflammation to come down in your GI tract from a lot of that toxic inflammatory foods that you were eating when you fell off your diet. So this video is really motivated for those, including myself, to be transparent and honest, of those that normally eat healthy but kind of allowed themselves to veer off from their diet, or just from holistic eating simple, nutrient dense sources of foods that you cook at home, that are sourced organic, and that are extremely inflammatory. So an organic white rice is the less of all evils when it comes to carbohydrates. The best would be honey, in my view, and fruit. So, eventually I'll get rid of the white rice and I'll go towards the fruit after I do a more low fiber detox to just kind of balance myself and do more of an elimination process. I don't think white rice is the worst for you. I just use it, like I said, for fuel, for energy, as well as I use the raw honey for that. So that's basically what I've been eating for the last 5 days. I keep my carbohydrates from 75 to 100 grams from white rice and honey. And I drink tons of water as well. And and obviously a high quality salt as well. Now, the reason why I'm not on a high carb diet or a vegan diet or anything, or a carnivore diet. I mean, a carnivore diet is a highly nutrient dense diet, but you have to understand your metabolism. If you have a fast metabolism, you're more of a lean build, and you don't retain electrolytes well because of your metabolism's high. We could talk about that in another video. I'll just give a brief analysis of that. You don't really want to put yourself in ketosis, because then if your metabolism is really fast, you're not retaining electrolytes, you're going to end up putting yourself in a more catabolic state, and you might get a little too lean. Now, if you're trying to heal a chronic inflammatory condition, then who cares? You do what you have to do. You'll only be skinny for a season, and you could rebuild after that. But I'm not trying to do that because I'm not fighting any type of chronic inflammatory condition. I'm just trying to eat healthy and optimize my health, and to really build that consistency and that discipline coming into the new year. And my goal is to come on here and to help encourage people to get more into that mindset of eating more healthy, just in general, whether you're trying to regenerate a condition or not. Because this is what you do to avoid running into problems. Whether you have a health condition that is life-threatening or that is real serious, you could prevent that. This is what prevention is. It's not going on medications and getting surgeries or getting, colonoscopies or anything like that. None of that is necessary. What you do is you just stop putting obstructive chemistry in your body, and you eat foods that are natural for you, and that'll prevent that. Because your body will go through detoxification, and it will go through microbiome adaptation, and eventually it'll balance itself out, and you can maintain health moving forward. So that's basically what I'm doing, and the reason why beef is my preferable source of protein, amino acids, and nutrition is because it's a complete source of amino acids and protein, and it has all your essential nutrients that your body needs to thrive. And the fats are full of vitamins, and it's most bioavailable when it comes to how your cells get the nutrition it needs. Also, it's the cleanest source of meat. It's the food that the powers that be are demonizing and funding these fraudulent studies, making people think that it's the worst thing you can put in your body, when in reality it's the best thing you can put in your body. If you're eating a grass-fed steak, you're eating the cleanest form of meat, and you're getting the most complete form of nutrition your body needs to thrive. And so that's what I do with that, and especially in eggs as well. Eggs are extremely bioavailable, high sources of amino acids, branched chain fatty acids, and all the complete nutrients that I don't need to go down the list. You can just look it up and see for yourself. So that's the base of my calories and the nutrients that I choose to consume. So that's why I eat the way that I eat. That's why I'm going to continue through the new year eating this way. It's going to take a lot of discipline, guys. So it's like, okay, you might be inspired and you might be interested in eating the way that I eat, or just really want to modify your diet, or really go on a strict, rigorous healing protocol, which I could put together for you as well. That may not have to, you don't have to do what I do. You don't have to do animal-based or carnivore or anything like that. I could help people heal through raw veganism, through a fruit diet and through certain juice fasting. However, I'm going to highly recommend that when you rebuild your body, that you get proper sources of bioavailable amino acids, which are not going to be found in plants And that could be a video for another day where I talk about why plants not only are a low source of bioavailable nutrition, but also inhibit your digestion and also inhibit utilization of certain minerals and can also pull them out of your body and leave behind acid residues, which is counterproductive to holistic eating, and which is why I don't promote that anymore. However, if you're on a fruit diet for for trying to reverse a chronic and degenerative condition because you're trying to really flush out your colon and flush out your lymphatic system of all the accumulation of waste that was built up from the chemical laden, food, processed foods with the seed oils and the refined carbs and the refined sugars and the sodas and all the chemicals and heavy metals and all of that stuff. The fruits are highly effective because they're very cleansing. And also, if you eat organic, properly sourced fruits, you're going to avoid the chemicals, and they're easier on your body in regards to your body knows how to digest those carbohydrates versus, raw, high fibrous vegetable material, which is the least compatible for humans, and grains. And then we get into beans, and then we get into nuts and seeds, which are just counterproductive and not really going to help you reach your goals with that. So I certainly don't veer people off from fruit detoxes temporarily. I just prefer when I'm working with my clients to manage the timeline regarding when it's appropriate to rebuild. And in my view, rebuilding with animal-based is just way more efficient and way more beneficial and just overall, you're gonna achieve way better results with building that body. See, it's like you strip down the foundation, but you don't want to keep stripping it down. You want to build. You want to clean and then you want to rebuild. And so the animal foods are the builders, and the fruits are the cleaners. So I don't focus on vegetables or greens or any of that stuff. Now I do encourage people to optimize their healing with supplementation, with herbs and amino acids and minerals and digestive enzymes and things of that nature while they're on their protocols, regardless if it's whatever protocol it is and whether it's, okay, we're going to put together a protocol for you if you're dealing with an acute issue or a subacute issue or a chronic or a degenerative. I have all the tools in my arsenal to make that decision for that person. But eventually, you're going to want to rebuild the body. It's really important. And most people that get on these fruit diets or want to go raw vegan for the rest of their life end up stripping their body, putting it in a catabolic state, and depleting its mineral reserves, and also causing the body to starve itself because it's not getting those bioavailable nutrients, and those anti-nutrients, defense chemicals, if you will, are going to make it really difficult to digest and absorb nutrients, and also could leave behind acid residues that cause inflammation. So I think I'm going to end the video there. I just wanted to come on here and encourage you guys that it's a new year and it's a new opportunity. And if you need help optimizing your health, I am putting on a protocol. I'm putting on a cell with my health services. And I want to work with you guys and help you to regenerate yourself and understand that you don't need to go medications. You don't need to go surgeries. You don't need to be filled with all the lies and all the disinformation out there and be told that you have this condition that can't be reversed, because this is just unawareness. These are just people that don't understand what wellness is because they're in the sick care business. Well, I want to promote the wellness, and wellness is that your body can regenerate itself if you create the right environment for it to do so. And so I just want to encourage you guys to get back on track. We could do it together as a team. And if you have any more questions, put them in the comments and I will address them in the next video. All right. Love you guys, and Happy New Year.